like to go ahead and begin with District 1. Commissioner Scales?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. President. For the Public Works Committee, Services and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, we have two items, and they're both pertaining to environmental services. One is for S&P Liner LLC 2019 App 2 Sanitary Sewer Rehab. Item number 2 is Air Gas 2020 Micro Bulk Dewar Tank Agreement. Is that you, Cal, or is Mr. Dennard in there that can speak to both of those items?
It would be Mr. Market. There's no one else.
I'm sorry, it would be who?
Mr. Market has stepped out now also, so.
All right, so do you want to table these items, Mr. President, at this time, or how would you like to proceed?
The liner is, it's 85,000 feet of liner throughout the city in various areas. They have identified areas where we have SSOs, and they're zeroing in on those areas, and that's what this number 1 is on the liners. The air gas, I don't have that. Anything on the air gas panel?
So why would
laboratory? It's for use in your in I think Barton Laboratory.
I move the items.
hold on, because I have a question, Mr. President. So I want to be very clear, Mr. Patelis, and you can correct me, county manager, not county manager, excuse me, county attorney. I noticed that this item is a $4 million item. So I know you're saying it's going throughout the county. Give me a little bit more, because I had my staff yesterday to call, so I wanted some backup information to our agenda, and we didn't have it. So can you explain to me a little bit more about exactly what this is?
Yeah, there are areas throughout the county with these liners that they're putting in. It's in the backup. There's also maps in the backup also.
Okay, well, I won't debate that issue. I'll just say that we called for the backup yesterday, and so we're told that the backup was not available. But nevertheless, does anyone have any questions in regards to item 1 or 2?
I believe David is on the phone.
Okay. David, would you like to announce yourself, Mr. Dennard?
Him, next time,
You need to help me your phone. Like, see where.
He's unmuted.
Yeah, it appears as though he's trying to come on the line, but for whatever reason is preventing him from doing so. But if no one has any issues as it relates to this, these two items, then we can proceed forward. But I do want to say, I see you, David. Would you like to speak to those two items? I can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, his audio is not working.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sign language.
It sounds like, Helen, that he needs to get his phone and let his audio run from his phone and do the video by Zoom.
Yep.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. President, you gonna let me carry my own committee meeting report?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I say you're gonna let me carry on my own committee report, please?
Of course.
That's why I'm trying to make sure that if no one had any questions, and county attorney, you okay with these two items that are before us?
Absolutely. This is necessary for our sewer rehab and making sure we're in compliance with our environmental consent decree. Absolutely necessary.
Okay, well, very good. Do we have a second on that motion? A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All right. The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. We have no further report for District 1.
District 2, Commissioner Thompson.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have Community Development and Human Resource Services Committee. I have community development. Is Dr. Hamilton there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. If you can go
Okay.
ahead on and explain this, Dr. Hamilton.
Sure. The first item is with Asbestos Worker Local 78, which is a part of our workforce development program. They are one of our eligible training providers, and this agreement is for them to provide training in how to handle asbestos properly for our workforce development program. Item number 2 is with Haskin Jones, LLC for legal services. They will be providing legal services for our EDA and home program as it relates to the preparation of closing documents, devising loan strategies for those that are in default and setting up collection strategies and performing title searches and clearing title and different legal matters such as that. And the amount of the contract is $25,000. Number 3 is an EDA RLF amendment to end the city of Birmingham's participation. As many of you know, we've had a partnership with the city of Birmingham for our EDA RLF program. The county is the administrator, and the city of Birmingham has carried out the program for, or I should say, within the city limits of Birmingham. They have not made a loan, I believe, going back to about 2007, and they have a high level of default. So this first resolution, and then they've made the decision to withdraw from the program. And this first resolution pertaining to this basically gives us the opportunity to take the actions to withdraw them from the program. The last resolution is an EDA RLF return of city of Birmingham portion of the funds and reassignment of the loan. Basically, it describes how the city will have to pay back. The city will be paid back funding. The city is due back $792,212, and also they will be returning back to EDA about $35,000.
I move that.
Second.
Madam Chair, I have a question, please, ma'am. Madam Chair.
Because I'm breaking up real bad.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So on items 3 and 4, Dr. Hamilton, if you can explain to me when you say about Birmingham being in default, and obviously with Commissioner Tyson and I coming from there, and you said that this started back, was that 2007, I heard?
Well, actually, we received the grant from EDA back in the latter part of the 80s. And so actually what happened, just over the years, the city stopped making loans, and it goes back to about 2007. No loans were made, which caused a lot of those funds to have to be sequestered. And so we went over and talked to the city, and when the new administration came on, they made the decision that they no longer wanted to participate in the program. And so we've been working with EDA to see how to withdraw them. So basically what will happen is after all of this has taken place, then the county will basically operate this EDA RLF within our Jefferson County consortium.
So let me ask you something. I'm reading that this says that this is like an economic development revolving loan. Is that what I'm hearing? Or what
That's correct. That is correct.
And how long has it been since Birmingham has not participated in that program?
Well, they haven't made a loan since about 2007.
Okay. All right. It just kind of struck me, being that I know 2007, I was a council member. Well, take that back. No, I wasn't. I came on in 2009. But anyway, I didn't even know that we had that partnership. But nevertheless, if that's what the city of Birmingham has agreed to do, then we'll govern ourselves accordingly. But I did have an inquiry as to those 2 items.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, I tried reading this last night, I started on the head, but, all right, so this is something that was started in 86, as I understand.
That's correct.
How viable is it on our side now? Are we still actively doing this? What is our default rate?
Yeah, so the county side we're doing fairly well with our program. We have several loans, and I can senior the ones that we're working with, but our default rate is very low, and we've been making loans over the last few years. So basically, what'll happen is we'll have probably $700,000 or $800,000 to continue the loan through our consortium, and we're right now actively trying to find businesses that are dealing with this COVID-19 to participate in this program, because it's the good thing, we're not competing with the banks. Basically, what we're trying to do is create jobs for low and moderate income people. So we can, the terms are very flexible as far as the interest rate, as well as we can defer payments, but mainly to make sure that it's a good loan and they can repay it, but it's basically to stimulate the economy. And, we've done several loans over in Irondale. We did Overnight Parts Alliance. We've done, along with Benchmark, we did the Zaxby's over in Vestavia. So we've done a series of loans. And on the side of our program, it's working very strong.
And Dr. Hamilton, the interest rate on these loans were at a 2%, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 75% of prime as defined by the Wall Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Hamilton, if you don't mind, post this meeting, I'd like to learn more about this program, because I know Commissioner Ammons and myself would be very interested. I'm sure he may know some things about it, but as vice chair of the Economic Development Committee, indeed and not name only, I would be interested in that, because we have a lot of small businesses that applied for loans through the federal government since COVID-19, and all the funds were depleted. And so it's very important, I know, to all of us as the commission as a body, that those small businesses that need recovering right now, that if we have those kind of programs available through the county, that we do make them not only available, but accessible, so that everyone who knows about, first of all, everyone needs to know about the program. And let me just be candid to say, I did not know that this program existed, but certainly want to make sure that the public knows that we have this opportunity that's made available to us, especially if the dollars that have been widely talked about, which is this $115 million. If none of those dollars can be applied to economic development, then that's why this program is so pertinent to me, that we get out to the public so that they do at least find some relief on behalf of the county.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Hamilton, we have a lot of response from this. This was before COVID-19. With this loan process, you should have had at least 6 people that was interested in this process, because I had been talking to them about this. So are we going to use this would this qualify the COVID-19 cases with this funding? You think we can? Are we going to use it for that? Is it legally? Can we do that?
Well, not specifically for. I mean, it could be a loan. Like, for example, if you have a business who's having a turn, they're having a turn in payroll or other needs. It's basically for a business that has some type of need that would qualify for this particular loan. So basically, you may have businesses that are suffering from COVID-19 that need some type of loan, like working capital, to help them, work their way through this COVID-19 process. And keep in mind, it is in the Jefferson County Consortium, because we did match that loan with CDBG funds. And so it will, after they come out, we won't be able to use these funds in Bessemer and Birmingham.
Right. I know. Okay. Thank you. Is it any more questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Was that you, Steve? You were about to make a, I'm sorry. So I'll yield to you. Yes, I do have a question on that.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I'm not aware of this program either, Commissioner Scales.
You're not?
No. But I did have the question. I know that there was EDA money that came through the CARES Act. And Doc Hamilton, is that are we going to see any of that money? That should be outside of the $115 million that we did receive.
I'm not completely aware, but keep in mind, EDA has other programs outside of the loan program. They have public works funds for industries that are either locating or expanding. So we have not been made aware that we have received any additional loan funds, but the agency or the Department of Commerce has a series of programs, and I would think that some of that money probably went for their public works program.
Okay, I would like to when we get back after the meeting to be able to learn a little bit more like Commissioner Scales.
Sure.
So, Dr. Hamilton, my question is, when you said that they're going to, I guess because the partnership with Birmingham, and did I hear you say Bessemer?
Right. So what happened, as I was saying, when we received this grant, the city matched their program with UDAG funds. We actually matched ours with CDBG. So that basically means that we could never spend these loan funds in the city of Birmingham and Bessemer because they're their own HUD entitlement cities. So when Birmingham withdraws, we will not be able to make a loan within the city limits of Birmingham or Bessemer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the reason why that was a bit confusing for me, Dr. Hamilton, because if you're telling me that you currently can do it.
No, the city. I'm sorry.
Ahead.
No, what I was about to say, when the city was a part of the program,
They could.
They did all of the loans within the city limits of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So as they withdraw from the program, then that just basically means, I think they have some other loan resources over at the city, but it will mean that we can't use these particular loan funds within the city limits of Birmingham.
It can only be used in unincorporated.
Yeah, it would be in our HUD consortium.
Right.
So are you saying, when you say consortium, are you saying that is only to unincorporated Jefferson County? Am I hearing that correctly?
No. What I'm saying is it's all
loans in Vestavia and some other places.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it's all of Jefferson County with the exception of Birmingham and Bessemer.
And Bessemer.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're their own.
I just don't want, Birmingham by, not you, Dr. Hamilton, but by the county. I want us to be, I want us to be fair. That's all that I'm saying, because sometimes I feel like Birmingham gets to be the 800-pound elephant, but everybody's tackling at his feet. But Commissioner Tyson and I live in Birmingham, and so if you tell me that you're doing something in another city, then I want to know what precludes Birmingham from not being a part of it. If it's a matter of Birmingham withdrawing their interest or their participation, I get it. If there's a law that I need to know about that also prohibits Birmingham because they do receive their own CDBG funding, then that's fine. But I'm just trying to figure out, if it worked in 2007, why is it not working in 2020 if the law has not changed?
Okay, so let me try to answer this. So as it goes back to 2007, they have not really had any participation in the program when they were a part of the program. That's why they're exiting the program. And they made the request, the city of Birmingham made the request to withdraw from the program. So all I'm saying, we have never been able to use, I'm saying the county as the administrator, we've never been able to make a loan within the city of Birmingham. When they were participating, they had to make all of the loans within the city of Birmingham, which they did not. And then on top of that, they had a high rate of defaulted loans.
People didn't pay them back. Yeah,
that's right. And so that goes back to the overall performance of the program. And so, we were having issues with EDA out of Atlanta. We had to sequester funds. And so there was just a series of issues over there. And I just think, as they really had said to me, that the program was just not working, I guess, with the way they wanted it to. And like I said, they had a lot of other loan programs, and I think this one was just more difficult for them to administer.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'll get with you, Dr. Hamilton. I look forward to Commissioner Ammons and I getting with you as well. I'm just saying, for me to have been there for 9.5 years, I was totally unaware of this program. But I find, the facts of it to be interesting. And so that has nothing to do with you. Just, I understand, especially as the former chair of economic development for the city council after 2009, certainly 2010. I just wanted to make sure that if we were being fair in our approach, then you have no problem with me. And I understand that Birmingham now wants to pull out, and that's on the city of Birmingham if that's what they choose to do. I just wanted to know about the program itself. And then offline, Commissioner Ammons, that would be something that I'd like to see. How do we reappropriate those dollars that are being returned back to the county? If it's $700,000+, then that could be some additional dollars that can be placed back into that particular budget, but then appropriate it to some of these small businesses that we're hoping to help. So thank you, Dr. Hamilton, for all of the information you provided. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Can I clarify something real quick?
Yes.
It was the $792 some odd thousand that was going back to the city of Birmingham, right?
That's correct. And then $325,000, which they will send to the U.S. Treasury. $325,409 has to be sent back to EDA.
Okay, so we're not getting anything back at the county. It's just we're sending that money that they
invested
back down.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
and it leaves the county with what, Dr. Hamilton? But we can clear this up.
It's going to be close to $1 million.
Mm-hmm. That's in there for the county.
That's correct.
And this money can't be okay. We already know it can't be used in Birmingham because they pulled out. It cannot be used in Bessemer also, right?
Right, but the rest of the county it flows with our consortium, so the rest of the county can participate.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure everyone understood exactly where it could be used at. So, commissioners, that's over $1 million that we do have in that funding. And thank you so much, Dr. Hamilton. Can I get a motion on the floor to move item 1 through 4?
Move the items.
Second.
It's been
Question. Check with that amount. The way I read these numbers, it's more to me. Also, on the post meeting, let's see, you said the high level default in Birmingham. Obviously, somebody was making some bad loans.
That's correct.
What was that default? How do you qualify for this? What's the maximum amount you can get in a loan, and what our default rate is? I'd like to know those also.
Okay, I'll get all that information to you.
And then I don't think that they were making bad loans. You just made a loan and the people didn't pay their money back.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. I just don't want to put that out there since we on social media. So I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
I didn't hear but 3 people. Okay, thank you.
Got it, Commissioner.
Sorry, I was.
Okay, now we're at family court. Is Judge Hilliard on?
Commissioner Josh,
Yes.
county attorney asked us to remove that one to our regular meeting. Is that correct, Leah? Yeah, I moved that we remove the.
That's correct.
Family court item.
All right. Thank you. Well, that's the end of my report.
Hold on, Madam Commissioner.
Yes.
Let me ask this. So when you say you're gonna move it, do we have a time certain on this, Mr. County Attorney?
I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay, no problem.
So we're not asking item 1 in the family court to the agenda. So it has to come up Thursday, new business.
Okay, so it has been removed. So that's the end of my report.
Okay, Administrative and Infrastructure Committee. Roads and Transportation have no items. County Attorney has Cook Green general professional liability contract that will be canceled. We have minutes from the April 9th meeting and minutes from the April 23rd meeting. Can we get a motion on those?
Move items.
Move the item.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
while we're on this item, I did have a question, and we can go ahead and move it, but I am interested in what's happening with our indigent care fund, being that we have persons who are in need of paying for these COVID-19 tests. And my understanding that the health department funds are getting depleted. So I did want to ask where we are with the Healthcare Authority indigent care funds and they being applied to COVID-19 testing for underserved residents who don't have the ability to pay for these tests.
And that will be addressed
On Thursday.
on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, Sheriff has no items. We have 2 items from the county manager's office. The temporary salary increases for contracted employees. One will be Helen Hayes and the other is Sri Kara.
Both of these employees are working with FEMA, and all the employees that we have working at FEMA are doing the premiums.
But have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next is Finance, Judicial Emergency Management Development and General Services Committee. That's a mouthful.
All right, finance, unusual demand, purchasing agenda report, purchasing exception report, encumbrance report, procurement card statement, items 1 through 5 under finance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Budget management offices, we've got some staff development issues here for revenue. It's a Tuscaloosa, I don't know if that's a video conference or is that travel? Does anybody know? Travis, you on?
Yes, sir. Those will be satellite training conferences.
Okay. And then we have Board of Registrars. We're going to pull that one. Barry's not traveling. Community Development, we got Nathan Salter, but that's for a meeting September. And then we have another revenue item for Tuscaloosa at 150. Do I have a motion on those?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
The travel one, I thought we said we were going to put a freeze on travel or any expenses, and just if September was far enough out to go ahead and schedule it, or if this is a required trip, just out of curiosity.
Let me make an inquiry on that because we do have a travel restriction. You're right. But this is in September. We don't know what September 2 is going to look like, but sometimes you have to get these far enough advance so that you can actually attend. Community Development, Dr. Hamilton, would you get this information back to us by Thursday, please?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was going to say, Mr. Chairman, you only have one item that I see on here that's going to take you out of the state of Alabama, which would be the one for community development. All others are in the state of Alabama. So even if you have a ban on travel, I mean, I don't think we have a ban domestically in Alabama. Is that correct?
I think it's kind of, you play it by ear. I don't know that we specifically have a ban on travel in Alabama, but it's the same principle that if you're going to where there's a large gathering of people gathered in a room, I think the situation is the same. But we did have a ban on non-essential travel, so that would to be apply both in-state and out-of-state.
Well, I mean, and for example, when you're talking about Board of Registrars, you would tend to think that that's important just because it's dealing with elections. But again, I'm gonna let you all do what you want to do. I would think anything that's surrounding voting is important, and so I'm gonna yield to you all. And
look at Derek Stevenson. Are you on the line?
Yes.
Huh?
I don't know that he is.
Okay, because he told me he wasn't going to travel, but I didn't read that closely.
The item says online election certification. I assume that meant he was doing it. It's a virtual training.
Yeah,
May 4th.
so maybe I mistook what. So, we'll leave that one on and have that one for further clarification for Thursday.
Yeah.
Let's pass it to the agenda. Community development, Dr. Hamilton, Nathan, will get back with us on there. Do I have any other questions about this?
No, I moved the item.
Second.
In a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's see, general services, wraps, scan, X-ray machines, maintenance and inspection. And we have a resolution to update Birmingham parking rules, which I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole, but it is out there on the motion. For Rapsicon, item 1, and resolution to update the parking deck rules. Mr. Stellis, you want to address that one?
Sure. We have the parking deck here at the Birmingham Courthouse. We have 100 people who have reserved parking in the deck itself. They've earned the parking through years of service here in the county. We also have 182 people who park above, and it's first come, first served for those. Now that we have so many people working from home, and the fact that parking deck, we have over 100 people parking. This was so many people working from home. Just to open the deck, and it's been a very difficult project to manage for general services with the parking. So I make we do this, and it's going to help our employees out because first come, first served, and so many people working at home, we can put more people in that day. Still charging.
Tony, you breaking up real bad.
Are we still charging $20 per month, whether you call it
$30. It's $30 a month. Everybody's, yes. If you have parking privileges, you're paying, yes.
Mr. Tellis, in this, it says Birmingham Courthouse deck rules to change from assigned spaces to first come, first served for contract parkers. That means the people that are paying $30. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
I have a question as relates to this item. Item number 2.
Okay.
Am I reading this correctly that it's saying it's the Birmingham courthouse, or is it our courthouse? Or are we referring to the downtown Jefferson County courthouse?
Jefferson County Courthouse
Located in Birmingham. Yeah.
Because what it is, Tony, it's like I can barely hear you. I can't speak for anyone else, but it's like you're fading in and out. So if it sounds redundant that I'm asking the same question multiple times, it's only because I can't really hear you. So are you saying that there are City of Birmingham employees that are sharing this same parking deck that belongs to the county?
Let me restate that. We have 100 Jefferson County employees who have reserved spaces. We have 182 Jefferson County employees who have first come, first served basis. Now that we have so many people working from home, it's hard to manage the parking deck. We've always had problems managing people parking where they shouldn't be parking. We're going to open it up, first come, first serve, for all 282 people who work for Jefferson County parking this day. Also what it does, we have over 100 employees who park on the 4th Avenue deck, which is several blocks away. By doing this, we're going to be able to free up several spaces so that we can get more of our employees in this building. First come, first serve, and it has just been general service dealing with this issue. It gets complicated, and I'm glad to see this. Unfortunately, we need to do this.
So then let me ask this question, and this is more along the lines of, so assigned parking spaces that have been given to individuals, where are we having the friction, for lack of better words, the reason why we need to pass this by way of a resolution? Where's the underlying problem coming from?
We have 100 employees who have reserved parking. Their reserved parking is going to go away, and now it's going to be first come, first served.
And so are all of these employees paying for their parking space?
Yeah, oh yeah, everybody pays, just like you do.
Okay. I'm sure this is going to have to be an offer, because I'm wondering, why is it so significant that we have to pass a resolution regarding this? And you know, and I'm sure maybe that's just a management issue for me. I don't understand that, you know, when we have to take extreme measures like that, it just appears to me that something more is going on than maybe what I'm understanding. Because I would think if you have a lot of folk who are working remotely, parking certainly shouldn't be an issue, not at the courthouse. And if they are parking in the wrong place, then I think that that's up to each supervisor. But again, that's your territory, Ms. Patelis, but it sounds like a management issue to me. I don't think that that's something that you pass a resolution for. But again, I'm going to yield the floor to everyone else. It just doesn't seem, you know, I just don't understand why we're taking such extreme measures like this.
Commissioner, for decades, the commission has passed resolutions on parking deck, and we just wanted the commission had passed a resolution on parking deck. We just wanted to, yes, you're right, this is a management issue. We just wanted to make sure that y'all are aware of this, and that y'all, because we're operating under a resolution that that previous commission had passed.
It's policy change. And
well, no, I can tell, Mr. President. I mean, I think I've been there long enough to know that a resolution is policy. So I'm just wondering why we're changing the policy. I thought that was a bit extreme. But let me ask this question. So even for our own individual staffs, I mean, does this impede on their parking? I mean, you know, parking is parking at this point.
No, this is only for the folks who park across the street in the Jefferson County parking deck.
Okay. When was the previous resolution passed? Does anyone know that? What resolution are we operating under now?
It was in 2015, that resolution.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Mr. Patelis, please share with the pro tem when you get a moment why you felt that we needed to 5 years later update this, especially at a time when folks are mostly working from home. I just want to understand, that's not being accusatory. I just want you to give me an understanding of your thought process on it.
And the bottom line is this: now that we have, you know, employees would come in, they would see the reserved parking and their empty spots, because and they will have to drive two stories up to the first come first served parking. Now, since we have so many people working from home, we'll be able to bring more employees parking in this building than we have before, in this parking deck before. I think we'll be able to add another 20. There's a long waiting list to be able to park in this parking deck.
I get it. I like I said, I just want to get your thought process on it, because obviously we're going to come out of COVID at some point. And once you make a policy change, that policy is going to be in place post-COVID. And so this is the way we're going to be conducting ourselves moving forward. And that's the reason why I wanted to know, why were we, you know, taking this kind of measure? You know, prayerfully, COVID won't be around too much longer. And so I just want us to have, if we're going to pass a policy, then pass a policy that we can live with, you know, for years to come.
And I'll get with you all to go over that. I'll be glad to.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
I move items 1 and 2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Human resource. Oh, let me back up just a second. Barry could not get his phone, and he is here, and he has assured me this is an online. They had changed it from a site visit to an online presentation, so that's what this is about. So I think we moved it to the agenda with further clarification, but we have got the clarification and it's moved to the agenda, but I just wanted to let y'all know that. So thanks, Barry, for running down here and clearing here. All right, Human Resources Employment Agreement Amendment, Monique Greer. Cal, you want to take that?
I can. Monique Greer's contract is up for renewal, and this is what county manager recommended, and I think she's done an excellent job.
She is.
Move the item.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, the only thing I have left is the tax map surveying service, professional surveying service for tax maps, GIS data conversion project. Mr. Patelis, you know, this is a $820,000 contract, but I understand we were trying to merge with EMA and some other entities.
Right, and this is part of that plan.
Is this the plan, or is this, why is this just under tax assessor?
Because it involves the tax assessor portion of the program.
Okay, but is this a duplicative effort, or is this
No.
part of the merger?
It's part of the merger.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That ends my report.
Person Technology and Economic Development, Commissioner Hammond.
I don't have anything. You're welcome.
I move it.
All right, that leads us to our discussion. Mr. Kelly, you have anything?
Let me say, we opened the courthouse Friday, and I can say that I'm very proud of the staff, Jefferson County staff. They've done a great job, especially in the revenue. I sent y'all some information last night. The totals that we had on Friday, which was over 5,000 visits from taxpayers at all the courthouses and the two revenue offices in Hoover and in Gardendale. You know, between security, revenue, and others, people can help. We've been able to do social distancing every day, which is the fact that people can do a lot of the work online. And the attitude from the people who have gone through the line, and I've stopped and talked to several of them, I think they were happy to get out of the house, and they were happy to be able to come to the courthouse and do business. Probate, they've had several people over there, but one of the biggest changes that we made with revenue was opening that door at the courthouse here downtown, and when they finish business in the revenue office, they go out to Lynn Park door, and so that has helped a lot. So working with general services and all the folks, we're doing the cleaning, we're doing the sanitizing, and I feel real comfortable. We have the plexiglass up, and that has worked out very, very well for us. And again, to all the employees who have worked very, very hard to get us to where we are today. And we're still having a lot of folks working offline. They're working, and that has worked out well. And the inspection service, they've been working even through the closing of the courthouse. People were able to renew to buy permits online. So again, I want to say to everyone through this process, thanks. They've done a good job for our employees, and we're here to help protect our employees, but also to protect the public who comes into our buildings. That's my report. Thank you.
Okay. County Attorney Lawson, do you have anything?
We filed on yesterday evening the required our HR director strategic direction report. That was a filing that was required by the court as we move forward to exit our consent decree. We also had with that support from management, and part of that report with feedback from the parties wanted to entail assurances that the county was, of course, committed to the processes and procedures that we had, and had a commitment from management and everyone that we were going in a different direction now, and there would not be any instances or opportunities based on the processes in place for us to rescind back to the issues that we had before. Our HR director did an excellent job of preparing that report, and that is now in the hands of the court. So we will look for next steps and guidance from the court. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Hamlin, we just go talk to Bob across the screen.
I'm glad everybody's staying healthy, and with all of this expanding, hopefully we expand it more in the coming weeks. Very excited that today, along with members of the Convention and Visitors Bureau and a number of others, we'll be making a bid for the 2025 World Police and Fire Games. So we hope that in the next coming days, we'll have hopefully some good news that we'll be hosting another worldwide event in Birmingham and Jefferson County.
Be great, thank you. I just want to thank everyone. Thank the county manager's office, their staff and employees for the smooth opening of the courthouse. We're now able to serve the many that were underserved and could not transact their business either online or by mail. Thank you very much. The new normal is working pretty well. Let's keep safe. Let's protect those who need protection. The vulnerable population. Everyone is complying within the courthouse as far as the mask and the PPE utilization, the hand sanitizer. It looks like we have a good program moving, and I certainly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing the results in 2 weeks to make sure that we're in good shape. And I appreciate that. Mr. Hyde. You know, I love this one on the screen. But I'll go whenever you're next. You're up here with me, aren't you? Oh, okay, all right. That is you up there.
All right, we have $115 million that we received from the CARES Act. I have put out, I sent it to everybody yesterday about this funding. It's in a PowerPoint. It's not anything definitive. It's just points for discussion. And so I think we need to have an executive session to get some legal input on some items. And I was wondering if we are going to try to do that Thursday or just put it off for a while. But this is something that we need to collectively decide. And it's, to me, it's better if we all hear it at the same time. Because this, with the COVID stuff, it's kind of tough to communicate sometimes. I hope they open up the barbershop soon because I'm getting desperate. But other than that, y'all let me know which way y'all want to go on further discussions. And like I said, this is just something that I put together some thoughts, and mostly it's questions. So how do we proceed from here?
Commissioner, I think is the intent, and we'll to have an executive session on Thursday. There has been lots of information that has come out regarding the use and expenditure of these funds, and the way that it will be looked at in terms of illegal spending and potential exposure that we have or may not have, depending on how we use those funds. So unless there's a different thought about that, the plan was to ask for an executive session on Thursday.
Commissioner Scale.
I was about to say before I make my comments, County Attorney Lawson, are we able to do an executive session via Zoom?
No, ma'am. That would not be my recommendation.
Okay. Okay.
To say
Oh,
it may,
I understand. I'm just,
well,
so we're looking,
it may be possible, but that's not something I would recommend and would be requesting.
all right. So are we looking at, Mr. President, us coming in to have this meeting on Thursday and not doing the meeting via Zoom?
That would be correct. We would not have a Zoom meeting on Thursday. We would practice social distancing and do this, Commissioner Knight and I have done today, and have 6 feet apart, but have that, we would, in an executive session, we would be receiving information. There would not be much dialogue exchange as far as we cannot deliberate at all in an executive session. We can receive information and then either go back into regular session and either act on it or act on it at a later time. But the purpose of the executive session is information on.
So, Mr. President, respectfully, I do know what executive session is, okay? All I wanted to know is, are we deeming it to be in person, or are we talking about doing it another way? So that has been answered. I will say this, Mr. County Attorney, as we proceed, I think I have shared with you offline what specifically my area of interest would be, which I'm sure will culminate with Commissioner Ammons's thoughts as well. And that's implied what I am saying, because I do know that there's some things that I think has not been properly understood. Just yesterday, I had a reporter that called and said we left out a city or whatever the case may be. I just think that whatever we do, once this executive session completes itself, the process completes itself, then Helen, I'm gonna be looking forward to you letting the public know exactly how things go so that people don't think that we're being discriminative in terms of these dollars, because I do know that Jefferson County desires to be in collaboration with any city. That's just the way we govern. And that being said, Mr. President, I would also like to know about that indigent care fund and what does that look like? I heard people saying, well, Thursday. Well, that sounds like some conversation has been had, but your pro tem has no clue as to what's going on. And I do want to know exactly if folk don't have the ability to pay for these tests, what are we going to do with that indigent care fund, even though we've pledged it to this healthcare authority? I do want to know where UAB stands on making sure that tests that are made available to the public and that those funds that we have pledged to that healthcare authority, that those dollars are looked as a part of this COVID-19. I'd be interested in that response. My last statement that I wanted to say is this, as relates to PPE gear. I want to know, moving forward, Ms. Patelis, how are we going to proceed at the courthouse so that everyone is safely entering and exiting that building? I am very interested in knowing in terms of, we know that PPE gear is not as readily available, neither a test like we want it to be. And certainly I don't want us to be one of those folk who make national news because we began to surge because we reopened and our plan of action wasn't, what it needed to be, so that we don't find ourselves going back to square one. I mean, the object of everything is to proceed cautiously and to do it in such a way that we don't have to revert back to anything that we do. And so I just wanted to say that I look forward to us all being on the same page. And I understand we can only talk so many in a room at one time, but hopefully we're going to get to a point that all of us are singing to the same sheet of music and nobody has a different play card than the other. We all are in this together. And if we move together collectively, I think we build a coalition that's going to be helpful to our residents, helpful to our employees, and most of all, will be helpful to one another. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Well, as far as the testing, I think that we're building a comprehensive plan to test throughout the county, and I think Dr. Wilson we have submitted names to be on that task force. And that's part of being, part of the testing issue. And I think everybody that's coming in the courthouse has to have a face covering anyway, because it's Birmingham and they have that ordinance. So that addresses.
And also, isn't the health department getting funding also from the CARE Act?
We don't know.
Yeah, from my understanding, they are.
Well, that's,
from what the representatives in Montgomery said.
well, they submitted us a request last night to us.
Right.
For the funding. So yeah, that's you're right, Commissioner Tyson.
So wouldn't that be? Can you double dip? Can you get some from the state and get some from us? Shouldn't we look at that?
Commissioners, let me say, we would like to, we hope on Thursday to give some guidance. We know from information that the ultimate accountability for the expenditure of these funds and eligibility of that is going to rest solely with the county. With that in mind, we expect to provide you with some legal advice and guidance to ensure that that is properly handled to help you all to appropriately administer policy. But I think that it is probably best if we table eligibility discussions and that kind of thing until after we've given you all the that guidance collectively.
Thank you.
Mr. Tyson, you have the floor. Commissioner Tyson, you have the floor.
Let me give you a report on the census. I know with this pandemic, I know a lot of people saying the last thing that we should be talking about is the census, but it should be the first thing that we're talking about, because the reason that we was eligible to get the $115 million was because of the census report and the numbers that was counted within the state of Alabama. And I think that we need to realize how much the state and local government depends on the census report that we do turn in. It's looking really good. Jefferson County is 55% above average on people turning in their surveys. The areas that we were given, they are above average on the on their reports also. Birmingham is behind, but now we're going to go in and help Birmingham more with the targeted areas that they have where they're struggling getting people to actually fill out the census report. So we're working with them now. We're going in and we're putting up the posters, just reminding people with the number on it, with the email for people to actually call. And we have passed out the computers in order for them to actually fill out and access the cell phones in the partially rural areas where we were struggling. And so every day we're getting more and more people to actually use the cell phones, actually use the tablets that was given to the sites. So it's moving pretty good. Everything is just, it's falling in line, and I'm very excited about it for Jefferson County.
Thank you very much. I'd like to remind everyone that the Thursday meeting will be a regular meeting in the courthouse, and that everyone will please bring your PPEs, and we look forward to seeing everyone then. There being no further, Commissioner Knott.
At exactly 10 minutes after 1 today, the 117th is going to be doing a flyover across Alabama, and what they're going to do is it's kind of a training thing, but what they're going to do is go around and salute the different hospitals. And so it'll be at St. Vincent's East at 107 and here downtown at 110. So you might want to walk outside and salute our team up in the air.
And don't blink, you'll miss it. So, being no further business, I look forward to seeing everyone on Thursday. This meeting is adjourned.